I've always known that.
Drop the gun and get on the ground.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vinny Absella. This is Christy, and you're listening to or watching Studs in the Squared Circle for today being August 20th, 2023. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but at this point in time, I'm actually going to give the floor to Christy. She does have something that she wants to share with the audience.
All right. Thank you, Vinny. So I don't know how lengthy I'm really going to end up quite being with this because I've thought about it a lot. As some of you may or may not follow me on Twitter, some of you may not. Some of you are like not on Twitter, which for me, I have recently learned that may be a good thing to not be on Twitter. But I do, first of all, just want to apologize to anyone that I may have offended or hurt with a tweet that I put out when I had posted a little poll about doing a Becky Zoom and who was interested and who was not. I tweeted something out of frustration, and it was not my intention to shame anybody or guilt anybody with my tweet, but unfortunately that is how it came across, and I deleted it because it's not a good reflection of my character, of my true character. And I did want to, have a fun Becky event and have people be able to get along regardless of differences in opinion. But unfortunately, due to, circumstances and some of it, I think, being, my fault, obviously the event didn't go as planned. That said, I understand how the tweet looked. I take responsibility. I deeply regret it. It was not my intention to come across like a mean-spirited person. But, those that know me know that, and those that don't. And that's okay. So one of the things I'm working on that I think is a good thing that I work on all the time is to think before I speak. And I'm not always successful at it. And, I was really sad over this, and I wasn't on Twitter for a while. I lost access to a Discord I was in, and I was just really, really sad about it. So in light of all this, I decided to step back from my Liaison Radio Twitter account. So you can still follow me at Instagram.com/liaisonradio, and you can see me there. And even on my personal Twitter account, I've edited my bio. And for whatever reason, Elon has decided that he's mad about that and has locked me out of my accounts. So I'm just going to take that as a sign that I'm not supposed to be on Twitter right now. And that's okay. But I just want to thank my friends out there that have reached out to me and asked how I was doing. I really do appreciate that. Part of the reason that we didn't record for 2 weeks was because I was feeling down and it was really affecting my health. And, Vinny has had his busy work schedule. I have my work schedule. It was a little crazy. And then I had to figure out, okay, now I got to rewatch GH, catch up, read some recaps, and watch on Hulu, which is not my normal way of watching. And so it took a while to catch up, but I just do want to leave everyone with a little piece of advice. You can take it or leave it. I'm also trying to practice what I preach here too, but I just encourage people to please be conscious of what you're saying about someone on Twitter or on any social media app. When you don't like what someone's saying, or you have some kind of misunderstanding of what they're saying, we're all out there discerning what someone meant or what someone said that are 200 characters or less on Twitter, for example. You literally have a very limited character thing, unless you buy, a Twitter account verified, which I didn't do. But you literally have 200 characters or less to like say what you want to say, and then people are going to take it how they want to take it, whether or not you meant it that way. So, someone might be struggling with something on the other side of the screen and you have no idea because, you're just tweeting out how you feel about the situation. So this might be an unpopular opinion, but people feel like they can say anything on social media and there's no consequences for their actions most of the time. And sometimes accounts get taken off Twitter or suspended, but for the most part, you can be as nasty and judgmental as you want to anyone on social media, including me, and it did happen, and then you get away with it. And that's just the way it is. So, I'm saying this to myself because I've made this mistake many times, and to whoever cares to listen, just try to think before you tweet. It take a few moments, think about your response or not. You don't have to be like that. You can say, hey, it's my right to say or do whatever I please. And you would be correct. And I'm not saying I'm a saint, but I'm just giving my advice. So again, thank you to everyone who, even those who blocked me. It's been a learning experience. And thank you, Vinny, for allowing me to have my piece on the airtime. And I'm moving on, and I'm sure other people have probably moved on from this way sooner than I have. But it took me a couple weeks to, kind of regroup and think about it from the opposite perspective, the opposite side of the screen. So thank you. And let's get to talk about GH, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Christy. And for those of you that can't find it in their heart to forgive and accept an apology, that's on them. Quite honestly, everybody does, everybody makes mistakes. And honestly, the now former Twitter, also known as X. By the way, I did tweet out something yesterday that since they're no longer called tweets, I think they should be called excerpts, considering X is the new name of the app. But James Lott Jr. actually did an entire show about the same thing. Not too long ago, actually, he took some time away from his podcasts because of the same issue. Whether, it's a view that people disagreed with or whatever the case was, and he got a lot of online bullying because that's what it comes down to. We teach our children that bullying is wrong. Unfortunately, bullying is still in schools, and bullying is 100% amplified on social media because people are anonymous. People, you see a picture, but everybody hides behind their keyboard. So, it's okay to make mistakes because, not to necessarily bring this to religion, but, when the Pharisees brought the prostitute to Jesus, Jesus said, let the first person who's sinless cast a stone. So for those of you who have never made a mistake in your life, you have the right to judge, but guaranteed, there's nobody out there that's never made a mistake. So I applaud you and for your openness and honesty and your apology. And now let's move on to it. But I did want to just say thank you for that. I myself put my foot in my mouth quite a number of times. I pissed off the entire Sabrina Nation about 2 months ago.
about stuff now.
So it is, not only do you have to think before you speak, but at the same time, it's also other people have to understand that in 240 characters or less, you can't say an exact meaning. So maybe everybody should just start doing videos so you could portray tone instead of just typing. But regardless, we'll move on from that. And all right, so we're probably not going to go over the full, 2 or 3 weeks since the Sudsies episode. But we'll definitely go past week. Today is August 20th, 2023. Again, my name is Vinny. This is Christy. This is Suds in the Squared Circle. And let's kind of move on and go. We'll start probably, I'm sure, with probably one of your most unpopular storylines, but Finn and Liz. I know that Finn is not your favorite character, and I just want to know, now that they've seemingly rebooted the relationship aspect of Finn and Liz, how are you seeing it?
All right, well, these are my notes for that, which are very short because this is legit what I said. Snooze. Okay. It's a snooze, or it's a fast forward for me, because they are the winners for the most boring couple ever. Okay. I would rather see head nurse Liz in action at her job than boring fit dates. I don't care where they are, the roof, the restaurant, whatever. But Becky looks so good in that black dress. I will say that. Becky, she always looks so good. So I can see why Finn is into her on a physical attraction level. That's fine. I have no issues with that. Like, she is very good looking. But he's made so many mistakes in the past, and she's so gracious to forgive him. But like, there's no spark. They have no spark as a couple, and maybe some people see it, chemistry is objective. You may disagree with me. I can't see it. I want to see it. I would love to see it, but I just don't see it. And I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted by my cat. I don't see it. I'm like, what am I supposed to see it? Because I literally can't. I can't. And it's very hard for me to even like Finn, because if I don't like the guy, I usually don't like the pairing. And there's nothing likable to me about Finn. Nothing likable. I don't care for his father either, but Gregory is killing it with that ALS storyline. He really is going there. So I applaud the actor. I just don't, there's nothing there for me as a character, and it's hard for me to root for them. But I really do hope that Liz continues to assert her independence and be like, look, I don't need you, Finn, but I will allow you in my presence,
Well, that's the thing. I'm almost to the same. I mean, don't get me wrong. In my, especially the fact that it's now the third character on Jennifer, was his best character. Almost there was more into detective compared to a doctor. It's kind of intense, but I'm just not seeing that kind of from him at this point. And it's nothing against him. It's just a character created for him. I do like the interaction with having from scratch. They've kind of put up with that makeup, and thing about things characters. So the writer can't really that his, we the viewers know that
right.
themselves are kind of behind them. I agree with could like Liz is her struggle for Epiphany, because Epiphany did everything around the hospital. So I would love to see that story as struggling in that role, or the struggle taking over for that for somebody with such large shoes as he was. My breaking up a bit. I'm on my earbuds. Wondering if it's let me see if I can see it.
All right. So is it better now?
Oh,
Perfect.
it's so
Okay.
more clear.
Okay. So I switched over my microphone. So as I was saying, I'm liking the interactions between them. I would love to see the struggle that Liz is going through taking over for Epiphany, as head nurse.
That's a learning curve. I'm sure that's a big struggle. I'm sure she has a lot of people to manage, a staff. I mean, I'm sure that's a big job, but it's almost like you just see her once in a while, and they keep just putting her in scenes with Finn, and they just need to keep up the variety where she's working with patients. Like, she had a little bit of a scene with Curtis, so that was good, but she's not having enough scenes with other people in the hospital, and that's my issue whenever they have a pairing with Liz. Like when they brought in Franco, she had the majority of her scenes with Franco. It was the same thing. And I'm like, keep up the variety. Like, we know she has friends. We know she talks to her coworkers. Sometimes we see her with Portia, but there's just not enough of that, and there's definitely not enough of her like actually learning how to be successful as head nurse at GH.
Exactly. And the other thing is like Liz has been a single mother for obviously years since Lucky is on his adventures, and we know it's a soap opera, so she's had multiple children with multiple guys. Nothing against her, but it happens in real life. I don't like the fact that it almost feels like Liz has to be with a guy. It's like I loved the Franco and Liz pairing. I know that's different from your feelings on it, but I loved that pairing because I liked when Roger Howarth was playing Franco, and I liked how that kind of grew because Liz had empathy knowing that Franco was a villain at the very beginning, had the brain tumor removed and changed his life around, and she saw the good in him. So I like that pairing. In turn, when he passed away and she did stay single for a while, it's almost like I would have liked to see once, Finn showed the red flags of overstepping the boundaries multiple times. Then now she's like, okay, I don't need a guy. If we want to be friends, that's great, but we don't need to have anything romantic at this point. If 2, 3, 4 years down the road, after they both date other people and they end up coming back to each other, then okay, let's try this again. If natural progression of chemistry goes the way it is, again, everything
Right.
has to do with contracts and everything. I get that, but in terms of real life, my ex and I are best friends, but it took a long time to get to that point, after we stopped dating. So it can happen in real life, but I don't think it's that quickly as it is.
Yeah,
Um,
they don't always have Liz single for very long. It's like they always feel this urge to like put her with somebody, but I'm like, you don't need to do that. You can show her being single. You can show her being a mom, which we do not see her kids enough. We always ask, where are her kids? Like, we know they are there. We know Cameron's off at college, but we can still see the other two. I mean, at least once a month,
yeah.
something. But they're just
Well,
not, GH is just not there with consistency. They're just not there. And that's
you
just what.
know, exactly. And how many, it would have been great to see, you know, uh, Cam having a FaceTime with Liz saying, hey, school's going good or soccer's going good, or, just kind of a summer check in or something, just to say, hey, I got a summer job, so I won't be coming home for the summer, or, whatever, just something that keeps them at the forefront. I would love to see, Aiden become friends with, or I mean, I know they're cousins, but with Violet and Aiden, kind of having scenes together because their parents are dating, parents slash uncle and aunt, or it's a very weird pairing, but it just if you think about it that way, but there's kind of worse pairings if you think about it there, which we'll get to later on in the show. But I agree. I would love to see the single parent aspect of things for Liz rather than necessarily needing to be in a relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. I
Um,
would.
yeah. And you brought it up earlier. Might as well move on to Gregory and his he finally told Finn his diagnosis,
He did.
and I thought that episode was that scene with Gregory and Finn was fantastic.
It was.
I
Yeah.
felt like it was a real heart to heart, and the chemistry between those two characters actually felt like a father telling his son some bad news.
I think they did play those moments really well. I was really proud of it, and he's even getting more open with Alexis. He got open with Alexis about it on their date, and I really enjoyed that too because it's getting to the point where he can't hide it anymore. He has to tell someone. So I'm glad he finally told Finn, and then eventually he'll tell Chase.
All right, we're gonna have to pause because it looks like my computer's gonna restart in 50 seconds.
Oh,
So
oh,
uh,
okay.
I'm gonna stop this Zoom and then we'll be back in a little bit.
Well, I hope it records everything.
It will because I'm gonna stop it now.
Okay.
All right, folks, sorry about that. Technical difficulties as my computer, right in the middle of recording a podcast, decided it needed to update. So, yeah. Anyways, we were talking when we left off. We were talking about Gregory and Finn and their conversation regarding the ALS. And I have to say, like I said before, I loved the scene. I thought it kind of brought out the best in Finn after he was like, I'm a doctor. Why didn't you say anything? With all this time, I could have helped you out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I could understand where Gregory's coming from. Like, I'm your father. I'm invincible. I don't want to show weakness. And I don't want you to worry about me. So it's definitely something a real life situation. As we know, there's no cure for ALS. You know, Steve McMichael, who Hall of Fame NFL linebacker and former WCW superstar, is suffering the same thing, and he's had his good days and his bad days, and so it's definitely something that is a realistic situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering how they're going to play it out.
Right. Yeah.
'Cause
I mean, I
ALS
applaud both actors did wonderful. Michael Easton did great, and so did Gregory, the guy who plays Gregory. I cannot
Gregory
remember his name.
Harrison.
Yes, Gregory Harrison. Really great acting by both of them. And yeah, I also look forward to we'll see where it goes.
So now that we know that Finn knows about the diagnosis as well, but there's somebody else that also knows, and that's Tracy.
Mhm.
And that scene where I like the dynamic between Tracy and Gregory a lot better than I like Gregory and Alexis. And the reason why I say that
Yeah.
is I feel like, and Brooklyn actually said it best, is that Tracy's never had somebody to challenge her. She's always been the dominant one, the one who gets her way. And
Mhm.
Gregory's like, hey, you know what? Why are you the way you are? And he kind of gives it back to her. I prefer that pairing over Gregory and Alexis.
I would actually agree with you. When I was kind of comparing the two, it was like, ooh, that's way more spark and interesting dynamic going on
Mm-hmm.
between Gregory and Tracy rather than Gregory and Alexis. I feel like they're kind of forcing Gregory and Alexis on us because they thought that maybe that's what we wanted.
Right.
But I wouldn't necessarily say that it's true for at least some of the audience. I mean, I can only really speak for myself, but I mean, I really actually find Gregory and Tracy a more dynamic and interesting pairing to watch than Gregory and Alexis. But I do appreciate that the friendship he has with Alexis, and that's fine if they want to
Yeah.
like stay friends. But I think if they want to pursue something romantic, I'm not quite sure if it's there.
Yeah, I'm not either. And especially because, Alexis and Finn both dated, but I mean, it's a soap opera. Those lines are blurred all the time. Um,
Yeah.
but I agree. My only question is how long is Jane Elliott around for? We know
Yeah.
she's on a short-term contract. She's, not going to be there for eternity because she retired a couple years ago. Uh,
Yeah.
but so I want to see how long they're going to keep this up. How long, is the story juicy enough for Jane Elliott to stick around past her current, contract? And they're hitting it out of the park, I'm enjoying that. Alexis to me is, I feel, and this is nothing against Nancy Lee Grahn, who's a fantastic actor, even though I don't like a lot of her personal viewpoints. But I feel like the character of Alexis is kind of phoning it in right now. I feel like she's, after losing her law license, and now she's an editor of a newspaper. I don't I don't see the energy, the same energy as she once had. Like, when she was
Mhm.
in law and she was fighting for the rights, and as someone who was, especially with the whole breastfeeding situation a couple of years ago, or a number of
Right.
years ago, she had that fire. I just don't think she has it. She has it now. Same morals, same principles, same wanting to use the paper for good, for activism and all that kind of stuff. I just don't see the fire that she had when she was a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't see it. And I mean, unfortunately, most of her scenes, I'm just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
except when she's with maybe Molly and Christina and Sam. Like I see that dynamic, that family dynamic, but that
Mhm.
has shifted too because now we have a new Molly and we have a
Yeah.
new Christina. So that whole dynamic has completely shifted, and I think everyone's trying to kind of find, you know,
Mhm.
each other's energy and scenes and like how they can play off each other. And I think that's going to take a while for them to kind of like really find their rhythm.
Yeah.
And right now, new Christina and new Molly aren't really, I mean, not any, no disrespect to the actors, but it's just not really hitting for me. And I think it was kind of jarring for us as viewers because first we had new Molly, right? Was new Molly first and then new Christina? I can't even remember anymore.
Both came on at the same time. So
That's what it
the
is.
very first scene that we saw both of them, and this was the first new Molly. Of course, that was a temporary last minute recast because of Haley Poulos's legal problems. So they had to find somebody temporary. Uh, but Kate Manzi was always supposed to come in as Christina. She was put on contract
Right.
for that.
Right.
And then after, I think her name was Holiday Kriegel or something, after her, temporary status ended and they brought in this other one, Brooke Ann Smith, I think that's her name. And then you get the backlash, oh, she's so much older than Molly's supposed to be. Whatever it is, what it is, the character on a TV show. I honestly, I think that Kate Manzi is killing it as Christina. I think she adds.
Yeah, she's good. No. She's good. I don't mean any disrespect to Kate Manzi, not at all, because I saw her work on Days of Our Lives and it was amazing.
I didn't.
It's just,
So this is the first
yeah,
time I'm seeing her work.
it's great. She's doing really well with the material that's being provided, and I really actually, I really am enjoying her, and I'm enjoying her scenes with new Molly. Is like, well, why aren't you picking me as your surrogate? Like, why are
Right.
you paying somebody? Which, so I find the storyline really interesting. It's just because they brought both of them on at the same time. It was just like, oh, now I got to get used to a new Molly and a new Christina, and I think over time, like the dynamics will pick up and like maybe I'll grow to really enjoy
Yeah.
it. But usually scenes with Alexis is just kind of a snooze for me. But I think once we get into, maybe another month or so, maybe, I don't know, maybe I just gotta take some time for me to warm up. But I am enjoying what I am seeing out of new Christina for sure. I still feel so bad for I'm blanking on her name.
Lexi.
Old Molly. Old
Oh,
Molly. I mean,
Haley.
not old Molly. Old Christina.
Lexi Ainsworth.
Lexi Ainsworth. Oh my gosh, so sweet. Like that girl's gonna go places. I really hope she goes places because I still feel so bad that GH really kind of like said, okay, sorry, you're not gonna do this storyline.
And see, that's the thing. That's the thing for me is like they had recast Christina before when they did the whole Mob Princess reality show, and they brought that other girl on. I can't even remember her name. She was there for a cup of coffee. I think she was there for like a 1 year contract. Like, she had the storyline with Trey, who was Connie's son, and he ended up dying after was it a car accident? I can't remember. But they tried this already, and then because of public outrage or whatever the case was, Lexi Ainsworth was resumed her role as Christina. I guess they wanted to bring in somebody else who was a little older, a little more mature. Lexi's in her early 20s. Kate is in her early 30s. So, I mean, they did Source, the character, a little bit, which I only thought Source was for kids, not necessarily.
Yeah. When they sourced new Molly, I was like, what?
Yeah, I think, but to be fair, the Molly that's there now does look a lot younger than her actual age. I don't know if it's specifically in line with how old Molly is supposed to be, but I could suspend disbelief and and say that she's there.
I think a friend of mine on Twitter said we're meant to see that they've sourced Molly. I don't know by how many years they meant to do that, but everyone was commenting on how much older Molly looked like the actress, and I guess the actress is actually 42.
39.
Right? Did we go over this?
39.
39. We went over this last time, and I was like, oh wow, it's so close to my age. Like, it's just surprising. Like, I mean, it's fine. Like, I mean, like, it's gonna take some getting used to, because it's like, okay, so that happened, and we have new Christina, and we have new Molly, and then we have sourcing action happening. So it was all a little like, okay, wow, this is a lot kind of to take in right
Yeah,
away.
no, you're exactly right. Although, I did like the scene with Molly and Christina this week when, you know,
Mhm.
because the thing is like, I can understand the animosity between siblings, especially when Christina came bursting in the door last week when the surrogate company spokesperson was there, representative was there, and like Jocelyn is such a bitch, just out of the blue, not even knocking on the door, not even texting, "Hey, I'm coming over" or whatever. I like how they're playing Christina as very impulsive. I think that that's kind of like Lexi Ainsworth as Christina was very impulsive as it was, and I think Kate playing it now has it amped up to another level. And I think that as she gets older, she's kind of like that, you know, late 20s, early 30s person that knows what they want to do and wants to get there, but doesn't want to take the time to learn the situation. Especially when we saw, her at
Mhm.
Alexis's house with the mask on, watching the movies, and then Alexis like, "Did you come to burn those books or whatever?" And and they were all about learning how to conduct a business and run a business, and that's exactly what she wants to do. It's one of those people where it's a know-it-all. She's acting
Mhm.
like a know-it-all almost.
Yes. Yes.
But either way, I do enjoy. I'm enjoying that situation there. I would like to
Yeah.
see, I want to see how it's going to unfold. Maybe it's going to unfold that this current surrogate that they choose won't work out for one reason or another, and they have to go with Christina.
I think so. I think that's where they're ultimately going to go, because I think that's why they decided that they were going to bring in a new Christina. I thought that's like the end game or end goal
Mm-hmm.
with
I
the
don't know.
storyline, is that Christina will end up being the surrogate, and
Yeah,
something will happen with this other surrogate that it falls through, I guess, because that would only make really sense, right? Like, I mean, I don't need them to bring on another new character that we get invested in some random person because of the surrogate for Molly. Like, I
right,
don't need that. Like, it just makes more sense for Christina to actually be the surrogate, and for them to be, have that family dynamic and drama and whatever comes out of that situation.
right.
Right.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think that's where almost where they have to go. Um, Kind of moving on, we're going to kind of go, just to let everybody know, we're going to kind of go through these storylines a little quickly just because of that update that I had to do cost us so much time, and I have to be in work at a certain time. So we're going to kind of go through these a little quicker than normal. Um, so did you happen to see when Spencer brought Trina back home, from the dorm and helped her with some of her stuff, and Portia's like, he was ready to leave to go,
Yes, I did watch those scenes.
see Ace, and she's like, "Oh, you don't have to worry about going to say goodbye. I'll let her know you left." And
Yeah, that's a little harsh.
I can understand Spencer being um respectful of Portia in her house. That shows like the responsibility of a good man. But at the same time, I would have said, well, she's expecting me to be here when she comes down because whatever the case was. So I wanted to let her know that I'm leaving. Oh, I'll just let her know or whatever. Like there should
Mm,
have been a little bit of pushback, I felt. But not, like more than we saw, but not something that's disrespectful.
yeah, that was a little weird. I was a little like, what? Portia, seriously? Like, just let them say goodbye to each other. Like,
Well, I mean, Portia made it known she doesn't like Spencer. Portia's made known
yeah,
she's going to try everything she can to break up that relationship.
this this is the thing. I think they're kind of, I hate to say this, Sabrina fans are probably going to kill me for saying this, but I think they're already headed towards the end. I hate to say it, because we're already seeing like Spencer at the pool, kind of seeing Esme in her bathing suit, and okay. And then we're already dropping hints that this whole something's going to happen with
But
Spencer and Esme. Something's going to happen.
I can understand that viewpoint, but I honestly haven't seen Spencer actually paying that much attention to Esme outside of being, the mother to his brother. I mean, I've seen Spencer say, kind of be indifferent when Esme makes her little comments or whatever, and Spencer is dedicated to Trina. With the exception of that one scene that we saw after he got into the fight with Dex, and Esme was there, kind of giving him ice or whatever. We have seen the comments that Esme's made in private, saying, "Oh, it's just me and you, Ace, because your brother's with his girlfriend, or he's more invested in his girlfriend, whatever the case was."
I think he's not invested in his girlfriend enough. He's overly invested in being like a surrogate father. I don't know, this is the right terminology, but he's basically playing father to his father's baby,
right,
that his ex-girlfriend had.
Yeah.
With his father, which is so messed up on so many levels.
You're right.
Just to say that is just crazy messed up. So it's just too much. Like, he's constantly with the baby, and then he like calls to Trina at the pool, and he's like, "Hey, Trina." That was weird. I'm sorry. That was a weird moment for me seeing that. I was like, this is not cute, man. This is not it. Like, you trying to flirt with me from the pool with the baby and your baby in your arms. Like, this is not like you think she's ready to hop on being like a stepmom this early in the relationship? Like, I can't with that. And like, there's pushback from Portia, obviously, but I think there's also the element of he's spending so much time playing the father to this baby that the Sabrina relationship is being cock-blocked by a baby, and it's continued to be cock-blocked for several, months now?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's going to get resolved, because I don't think I've ever seen Sabrina on an actual date, other than the first time they kissed. That was like a date for them. But we need to see them be going on dates, but we're not, because he's so consumed with the baby. And then she's consumed with, oh, well, now Curtis is my real father. And then Curtis got shot. And then, oh, well, let me talk to my mom and blah, blah, blah. So it's almost like they barely have time for each other. And when they do, it's with a baby.
Right. Yeah, that's a very bad way to start a relationship. I mean, I don't know. Like, first of all, I never understood, to put it out there, and I'm gonna get some hate for this. I never saw them being a super couple. Like, I know it was a passing glance that, Spencer came back and Trina was Joss's best friend, and they had interest in each other. I never saw it as being as big as it's been. Like, I don't know how the fan base got so big. I never saw it.
I mean, I might get some hate for saying this too. And if I'm miswording this and it's offensive to anybody, I apologize. But I don't know if it's because it's an interracial couple and it's really interesting because of that aspect. But I think we had, as Sabrina fans, there was really high hopes for them to have the writing behind them that would someday lead them to being a super couple. So I think people were quick to label them as that without them actually going through the paces yet of being a super couple. They haven't even really come close to that. I would consider Ben and Sierra from Days of Our Lives, if anyone knows what I'm talking about. They're a super couple because they were written to be a super couple. The writing was all there for them to go through the paces of being a super couple and go through all of those crazy things they went through to be a super couple. But the writing is just not there for Sabrina. They're just not following through. They had all the great buildup, and then the follow through for them has been absolute shit. I'm so sorry to all the Sabrina fans out there, because I was one of them. I'm not a high level Sabrina fan. There's high level Sabrina fans, and then there's
Right.
ones down here. I'm a normal Sabrina fan. Sorry, I know I'm gonna get hate for that too and offend people. Sorry, but that there's levels. There's
I mean,
definite
I
levels.
like
Seems like there's definite levels out there of how crazy you are for Sabrina. I'm not super crazy for Sabrina. I'm normal level crazy. I like them. I think they have potential, but my big problem with them is there's not any character development from Spencer's end to
right.
be the better man he was supposed to be for Trina. He's too busy with the baby thing. She's concerned with her mom and Curtis and the whole paternity storyline. It's just there's not anything that is pointing towards we're going to build this up to be a super couple. We're going to show them with all the firsts of falling in love and we're not even close to them making love, even though she suggested that she wants to go there. But he's like, hold on. This is not the place or time. But then he's so concerned with the baby and she's so concerned with her mom that I don't even know if it's going to even happen this year or when. It's just
Right.
not, it's like, where is this going?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not going to say I'm not a fan of the couple. I don't mind. I'm indifferent towards them because I never saw the appeal in the first place. I don't mind that they're together. I have no problems with them being together. Um, and I do think I think that Nicholas Chavez and Tabian Ali have fantastic chemistry. I really do. And the Instagram and the posts on X that that they do together. I think they have tremendous chemistry and they're friends. And I know they're trying to root for the storyline itself. I think it might be a slow burn type of deal, and everybody wants it now, 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 now. Let them go through and they're going through a lot more problems than many other relationships have gone through. And I think the problem is that you look at the writing and you looked at, they became friends after, Spencer always knew that, he was working against Esme when, Esme before she got amnesia and she was trying to catch her up in the whole revenge porn setup and everything. And, I think at that point in time, everybody jumped the gun and said, oh, well, he loves her and he's going to be with her and they're going to be together. When in general, it's like, okay, well, he saw that his girlfriend was the wrong one and the guilty one in the party. Now he's trying to help right the wrong. I don't think it was ever supposed to go past righting the wrong, and I think because of pressure from the fans and pressure from, the audience that they ended up going in a direction that they weren't ready to go in. And that's only my assumption or my viewpoint on it, because I agree. If they were meant to be together, the writing would be as they're overcoming these obstacles together instead of Spencer has this storyline, Trina has this storyline, and in the end, they're the blocks to the relationship, but they're not necessarily working on it together. Trina could say, hey, if we're going to have a family dinner, I'm inviting Spencer. If Spencer's with Esme and, Laura and Kevin are out of town because they're searching for Nicholas, he could be like, you know what? I don't feel comfortable staying here alone with you. I'm going to go to the Metro Court. But at the same time, I could understand him wanting to protect his brother because Esme's batshit crazy. So, and who knows if that amnesia is even true.
At this point, I feel like it would almost be ridiculous to have her go back to the person she was before, because they've let her be the amnesia girl trying to figure out how she is for so long that I think this is just a new Esme and we're just going to have to deal with it. Of course, it would be more interesting for her to be the villain, but I don't know. I think it may be past the point of no return, because it's like, unless something like she hits her head or something, flips the switch, she goes batshit crazy again. Yeah, but I think we're supposed to have like, oh, she's a new Esme now. She's amnesia, but she has this baby, so now she's going to be like this really great person.
They're trying to make her into this sympathetic baby face, but she's not.
Yeah,
like there's been no redemption. It's like almost like
correct.
She lost her memory, and now we're automatically supposed to root for her. Like she hasn't made amends, and I think that's what
correct.
That's what Alexis is trying to kind of bring out of her and saying that storyline I do like. with Alexis, and
Yes.
coming out and saying, you may not remember what you've done, but this is what you did. Everybody knows you did it. You may not know it, but everybody wants to see you actually take responsibility for your actions. You were in, Spring Ridge for a couple of months as up until pregnancy, and then you didn't pay for any of these problems. You want to you want to have people change their outlook on you. You have to take responsibility. And Esme, at this point, I still see the selfishness in her, because even though she's doing a great job as a mother to her baby, she's still like, it's all about my baby. I don't care about what anybody else thinks, or I want everybody to like me, but I don't care that they don't see me taking responsibility. And I'm still going to do all this for the baby, because I can't. That Laura and Kevin, and even Spencer to that point, would have no problem taking baby Ace while, she does her time, if that's what it takes.
Yeah, I don't understand why Laura isn't taking care of the baby more. Like, I mean, not to say it's all on Laura.
Right, exactly.
It's not. But I just feel like there's just too much focus on Ace, Esme, and Spencer being like this parental unit.
Mhm.
Like, no one signed up. I don't really know anyone who was like, yes, I am loving this. Let's take a photo shoot together. I am so loving this photo shoot. I don't see anyone saying that, but I could be wrong. Maybe there's some people out there who really are into it, but I don't think it's clicking for people. And if anything, I think it should be making the Sabrina fans really pissed off by now that they're not getting any romantic development in their storyline because
the Sabrina fans are up in arms. Believe me, I see the hashtags all the time. The summer we saved Sabrina. Well, newsflash, you can't save anything that the writers don't want to do.
Well, it's turning into the summer that Sabrina was canceled because the writers are not doing any favors. I mean, there's cute little scenes here and there at the pool, like, oh yeah, you're great, blah blah blah, love you, okay, bye. Right. Like, let's kiss for a second. Like, it's not. There's no dates though. Like, a little lounging at the pool is not a date. Like, take her out without this baby on your arm. Like, come on.
We got so much more to go over before we leave. We got a few minutes left. But I do want to bring up who I feel might be the next super couple, Cody and Sasha.
God. Oh no, you did not just say super couple with Cody in the same sentence, man.
I am absolutely loving that situation. I've been waiting for Cody to kind of break out and have that energy to be like, hey, you know what? He's going to end up getting to the point where he's going to get, remanded to Ferncliff so that he could save Sasha, because we all
have to figure out a way to get himself in there.
And I think he was trying that. He was trying that on Friday when, Mac and Dante were in there and he was going off, and he apparently, quoted Ernest or tried to, play as Ernest. But I mean, the fact is that he's trying to point it out, and nobody else is seeing it because Gladys always had, even though nobody really trusts Gladys, but they still don't see that she's, taking advantage. They don't see Dr. Montague, who's getting Sasha hooked back on drugs because he's injecting her. And
that's why she's so bad shit crazy. I didn't catch that part.
Well, that's what it is because if you notice, now we don't see the drug test, we don't see the actual results, we just go based on what's in the script. But when Montague said, oh yeah, well, we tested your blood and you still had the same substance that you were hooked on a couple of years ago, it's okay to relapse into that. We all know that she didn't relapse. We all know, as the audience, and Maxie knew that she was doing good, and Brooklyn knew that she was doing good, and the fact that she went to go stab Cody was completely out of character. And the other thing is that Montague gave her pills in his office instead of saying, hey, let me give you a prescription for this so it could be monitored. So we don't know what exactly he gave her and how big the dosage is. And honestly, Sasha's a smart woman. Why would she just accept it and say, I don't know what these are, or take them to the pharmacy and say, hey, what are these?
Well, you're supposed to blindly trust a doctor, right? We all
We're
blindly
supposed
trust
to.
doctors who give us prescriptions that we can't pronounce, and we have blind faith that they're going to work and it's all going to end up right. But I just feel bad for Sasha because this girl cannot catch a break. They
No.
keep putting her through trial after trial after trial. So she lost her baby, and then she lost her husband, and now somebody drugged her to make her look,
Yeah.
addicted and crazy. And I just feel so bad for this girl. So I am interested in Cody helping her, and I think Cody's going to grow on me because he is helping Sasha, and that's the only reason I really like him at this point. I don't really care for him otherwise. I don't know about super couple status. I don't think they're not even close. They're at all. But I know they're going to head there. That's obviously a direction that GH
Right.
is headed in for them.
I mean, I already came up with the hashtag anything kosher, so I mean, it's
Kosha, Kasha, whatever.
well, kosher, it's kosher, it's kosher, a lot of the Jewish people out there might be happy about that. I apologize if I offended anybody with that, but
Oh yeah, please, we don't mean to offend anybody. I'm sorry. We're sorry. We're just joking.
but anyways, we're gonna have to end this now, unfortunately. Hopefully next week we'll be able to do a little longer of an episode and kind of go a little bit more in detail with some of these things, because we didn't even go over Curtis and his, physical therapy. Sonny going in to help offer Carly to get Drew out of solitary. The whole thing with Pikeman, and Anna saying that Valentine lied to her, and
yeah, that whole interesting thing. Like, who the heck is after Anna and burned her house down? Like,
well,
what's
it
going
seems
on?
like it might be Valentine now. At least that's the way they're showing the direction, that it was Valentine.
Oh, who did it for Pikeman?
You're right, exactly. And maybe Valentine is Pikeman.
What's going on? That's so crazy to me.
These storylines are getting juicy. I personally am enjoying the FICOR writers. I do not use the term scabs because it has a negative connotation.
Yes.
And to me, the term FICOR means financially motivated, financial core. I feel like that would be me. I would be somebody who did that. But I mean, while the writers in the union are fantastic, they deserve what they need. But also, you can't let a union dictate when you have to get paid for your family and to feed your family. So either way, I'm enjoying what the FICOR writers are doing. And they're breathing new life into it. The storylines are getting juicy, and it's going to be fantastic. But either way, before I keep rambling on, Christy, thank you so much for your apology at the beginning. I hope that some people have grace and are able to kind of, accept your apology. But if not, it's on them.
It's been 2 weeks, so most people are probably not even thinking about it anymore. But I thought about it for 2 weeks.
No,
That's why
I get it. But anyways, all right. So thank you so much for listening and watching. This will be up a moment, within the next couple hours, up on YouTube, also on the podcast feed. I am Vinny. This is Christy. We'll see you next week on Suds in the Squirt Circle.
Bye.